We'll start with you.
Hello, I'm Clark Harris. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs here at LCCC.
And I'm Judy Hay. I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs at LCCC.
Excellent. Okay, guys, first question was, how did you guys come up with the guided pathways?
Well, Guided Pathways is actually a product or a notion of the American Association of Community Colleges. We're a member of that professional organization and very active in it. And this is the second cohort of colleges going through a formal 3-year process. And it's built on the research done in higher ed and in community colleges in particular on what works best and the best practices based on research and evidence.
Started back in 2015 when they started with the first 30 schools, and then we became part of the Guided Pathways 2.0, and there's 13 colleges around the country that were accepted into this cohort, and so we're part of that second group that are coming through. So we're taking what we learned from the first set of schools, and then we're able to build on that. So
That's pretty neat. All right, guys. What is your guys' overall goal and purpose for the guided pathways?
I'll start quickly, and then I think Clark has some more in-depth notions. But in general, what we really wanted to do was make sure that our programs were designed for the region's employment opportunities and transfer opportunities, and that our programs connect well with them. So that's part of this work. We also wanted to make sure that the services and functions that we have all over the college serve students well and make them easier to understand and navigate. So, for instance, simplifying the entry process is one of the groups that they've been looking at. So they look at everything that a student has to do as they enter the college and try to eliminate the things that don't seem to really mean much to the student.
Right.
So it's that type of thing.
yeah, we feel like we have great people here at LCCC, but we have a broken system. And this is something that we found nationally in all the colleges. How do we become a more student-focused institution? And so as we're looking at this, we reevaluate all of these systems we're looking at. We're also reevaluating the faculty, and how do we look at helping faculty become the best they can be. And so how do you get where you engage students? How do you get where you understand how to do the curriculum and do the whole process and become an engaging faculty? My goal is, how do I become the faculty that everybody says I want them to be my faculty? Right. So how do we get to that point?
So we've already seen some gains, actually, and as we've examined these things, because some of them are just painfully obvious, but we just haven't looked at them. We've modeled ourselves over the years way too much after 4-year institutions, and we are different in so many fundamental ways. So we look at that and say we're an open admission institution, so what is it that we minimally need? We need that students have graduated with a high school credential of some type. So that's all we're asking for now. We used to ask for their high school transcript, which is handy for some things, but not everything that a student needs. So that opens up doors for students and clears the way for them to get more done earlier and feel a part of LCCC. In many ways, we have been doing developmental education wrong. And the research is very clear in that area too, and our faculty have redesigned our English classes to be the type that you can get your developmental and your English 1010 done in one semester. So that accelerates a student's journey through to their program classes and opens doors. If you've got your English 1010 done, that opens doors to a lot of other classes, and the same with your math. So the math faculty are currently working on the math co-requisite model. We have looked at our placement practices, and the placement practices obviously aren't in tune with best practices or what is even proven to be useful for students, and so we've changed those too. And over the next year, when we're fully to scale with this project in the fall of 2020, you'll see a lot of those kinds of things, much more intuitive and much more user-friendly for our students.
So basically, we're getting like a full upgrade, basically.
It is a full upgrade.
It is a
That's
full
a good
upgrade.
one. Yeah, they call it redesigning America's community colleges, and it truly is. I don't think there's a department on campus that hasn't examined what they do, and try to see it from a student's eyes and say, we got to do it differently.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so our guided pathways, we have 9 subcommittees or teams that are out there addressing different problems. And so it's one of those, each one of those 9 would be a major effort at a college. We're doing 9 at once. And so it's just amazing as we're touching all these different people. And the great thing is, too, we have input and members of our team from across the campus. So we took a very deliberate process when we did this, and we selected people to get people from academic affairs, people from student affairs, but we also got people from the purchasing office. We got people from facilities. We got people from across campus to be able to provide that valuable input into all these processes. And it's pretty exciting because
there are probably 100 people actively engaged in this work over the course of these 3 years, pretty consistently. And it's developing leaders, it's developing people who really understand what we're doing and have invested their time and effort and feel very, very deep ownership to what they're doing. It is not Clark and me doing very much of it. We're really just facilitating the process and trying to clear any barriers out of people's way.
And we probably have a couple hundred people that are involved at some level. A lot of people are considered consultants, so you don't have to come to meetings on a weekly or monthly basis, but every once in a while we ask you to come in and say, hey, here's this document. Please come in and give us feedback. What would you do differently? What do you like? And how can we make improvements? And so those have really been great to see people that have stepped in to help provide that input.
It's like a well-oiled machine, basically. From all
We're
levels.
trying to get there.
Right, trying to
Yes.
get there, exactly.
Yeah.
What does the success of this look like at the end for you guys? So when it's all completely, like fall of 2020, what do you guys think it's going to look like?
So I think when you get done, it's going to be helping the students achieve their goals here at the community college. So we're going to help them identify career pathways. We're going to help them get on their path. We're going to help them stay on the path and hopefully then complete within a reasonable amount of time, which would be 2 to 3 years for an associate degree. And a lot of this, it just makes sense because the quicker we can help you get to that goal, the quicker you can take that next step. You can get where you're acting as a professional and stepping out into your field as a professional. You're going to make more money. You get to start doing what you really want to do and what you're excited about. Also, if you're looking at, you're going to transfer into another institution, to a 4-year institution, you've got the skills and you're ready to go, and then you make that transition quicker. But eventually, what we want to do is help you find success, and how do we help you get there quicker? If a lot of times students don't even think about it, but if you're on a very part-time schedule, you may be on a 6-year plan. And the bad thing is it's not really a plan. You're just taking courses, and eventually over 6 or 8 years, you'll get there.
And the other thing that people maybe don't think about as often as they should is that the longer you take to complete your degree, that's more time you are spending money, not making money. And especially our adult students really see that return on investment, and they want to make sure every minute counts. So we want to make sure that our programs are designed for them and that we have scheduled our classes in a way that they can take them and get people into their careers quicker so that they can start earning and both contributing to their families and their own well-being as well as our community, because remember that a community college's mission is local, and every student that we see graduate makes a big improvement in our community and our standard of living, I think, even in Cheyenne. So it's important on so many levels.
Now, does this change at all for LCCC doing the bachelor's degree for science for 4 years? Does any of the guidelines, does it falter differently if you're you do 2 years of science but you want to move to something different? Does it change at all for you guys? Does it make it a challenge?
So the Bachelor of Applied Science is really intended to help the students that have gone through an applied degree. So if you've gone through an applied degree, could be equine studies, it could be the applied degree in business, it could have been many of our health degrees. It could have been any of those where it's considered, an AAS is considered a terminal degree. We're preparing you for the career. So now what we would do, I'll use a specific example. Somebody who's in automotive or manufacturing, this now would give what we'll probably be looking at first is an applied management degree. And so this would allow somebody that has manufacturing skills, but how do I move up to that next step so that I can be the manager of my facility? Or in some cases, how do I own it? Like in automotive, I've learned how to be an automotive technician. I've worked as a technician for a couple years, but I decide what I really want to do is have my own shop where I have 4 or 5 bays, and I'm going to make money off all those people instead of just mine. And so as we move forward with the Bachelor of Applied Science, we'll probably start with applied management, and then the next one we'll probably look at is health administration or health management. So.
One of the things we know about Wyoming is that we've done a pretty good job of educating people to the 1 and 2 year level. And so there are a lot of people in Wyoming that hold an AAS degree or sometimes an AS or an AA, but they haven't gone beyond that. And the Bachelor of Applied Science is a tool that can reach those adults that are in a career and they need this for advancement. And it helps serve some of the need for bachelor's degrees throughout the state. Remember that this is a unique type of a degree. It's not your traditional transfer degree that the university offers and does very well at. This is not one that they have very many of, and it really needs to reach out to the people in the place where they live. So we're hoping they continue to do their Bachelor of Applied Science, but we're going to add that to our list as well, and we're really excited about it.
And the momentum for this in the legislature really came from the business community. It wasn't the community colleges saying, hey, you need to give us the opportunity to do this. The businesses, they were actually coming to us. They were coming to their own community colleges saying, hey, we need you to provide this. And so I know I was involved in a couple meetings where people in the community were saying, we really need you to do this. We have people that have an associate degree, but they need to be able to take the next step so that we can get them into management and maybe even into owner positions. And so I know one gentleman I was talking about that was on one of our advisory committees, and he owns a company, but he has an associate degree. And after we got done having this conversation about what the Bachelor of Applied Science, he was pretty excited. He said, I would really benefit from going back and getting that degree.
And you're closer to home, you're closer to job, you're not running to Laramie every day and running back, especially for the fall, like with winter coming around, you don't get stuck in Laramie. That's pretty.
Access is a very big issue in this state, access to the types of education that people need. So we've done a good job spreading all the 7 community colleges around the state, but there's a higher need for bachelor's degrees of some type.
Excellent. Okay. In what ways can LCCC improve and offer a better overall educational experience?
I think everything we've been discussing and likely more. I don't think this is a journey that ends in fall of 2020. That's really kind of, as we say, commencement for students. That's when we start to really put things together and continue to learn every day from our students. And so hopefully this will develop that capacity at the college to keep our ear to the ground and listen to our students and respond to them quickly.
Yeah, I think this is going to continue this is going to be a long-term project. We plan to be at scale by the fall of 2020, as she said, but it's one of those we will continue to make improvements. There's not an end. We'll constantly be trying to do our continual improvement, continuous progress.
So it'd be more like keeping up with the maintenance, basically, instead of having to start over. You guys are at full capacity, and certain things, if it doesn't work for you guys, it's just a quick little fix compared to.
We hope so.
Right.
But if you know our president, he always likes to tackle a big job and seems to find good people here at the college who are willing to take that journey with him.
Yeah.
Excellent. And last question for you guys: for incoming students, will there be a huge difference for them coming in for fall 2020 compared to
Sure.
for me coming in? Do you think there'll be a big impact?
Well, we're starting to ramp some of those things up even for fall of 19. So, for instance, on the entry end, they will not be required to bring their transcript before they are accepted as an admitted student, and all their orientation will be in online. Then they'll be able to meet with their advisor and talk about their classes, get registered, and we're instituting a new event called the Day Before, and it will be the day before classes start. And that will be a big campus celebration. We decided that we celebrate so well when students leave at commencement, and that is a truly big accomplishment. But let's celebrate almost as much when they come, because we are that happy for them. So that's a big new event that's going to come on, and part of that event will be a little more significant interaction with the faculty in their pathway. All of our programs will be organized into individual 7 different pathways, and that will be a big change for students starting in the fall of 2020. There are going to be some changes in terms of placement for their math and, well, mostly for their English classes this fall. And in the fall of 2020, math will ramp up. All of the co-requisite math programs or classes will be up. And I think the actual academic programs will be redesigned and mapped out in a way that students can really understand them. And the math is a piece that's changing in a big way. Did you want to talk about what the math faculty did with realigning math?
Well, they one of the things that the faculty did with to look at the math is they talked to the faculty all across campus, and they did surveys, and they, instead of saying which course do you think they need, they said these are the math competencies. And then they had them go in and do a survey and evaluate which competencies they thought were most appropriate for their students. Which are the ones they're going to need out on the job? And when they looked at those, they had a great change. There's a lot of our programs that may switch over to statistics instead of college algebra, and so as we look at those. So I was going to say about the changes that students will see, I don't know that they'll see that big of a change, because the new students, this will just be, this is how we do business. This is how the college runs. So to them, they won't see that it's going to be a big change. It's hopefully going to be smoother. We'll have a better system. We'll have more structure so that students know what to take. One of the things we've already implemented for next year is a year-long schedule. So now we'll have a year-long schedule, so people will be able to look and see when is that course going to be offered over the whole next year. So that way I can look and say, it's not offered in the spring, but it's offered now. I better take it. And hopefully then when we do your program map, you're going to see the same thing. It'll be on your program map that you're supposed to take it in the fall, not wait till spring because it's not offered. And then when we have that year-long schedule, that's going to help. So that's we're doing our first attempt at the year-long schedule for next year, but it's one of those that really I think is going to be a great tool as we continue to move forward and help students. That means hopefully less classes will be canceled so students can plan better, and it'll be good for students, it'll be good for faculty, it'll be good for advisors as they work with students. So really it's going to be something that's going to be really helpful. So I think as we look at the new system, when students come to the college, it's going to be easier to get through the process. On the entry, it's going to be, you're going to have better services when you're being advised. Something else we haven't talked about is a collaborative effort where there'll be a collaborative advising. So the advising will still do it, but also faculty are going to have faculty mentors so that the faculty will have people that are there working specifically. They know initially the needs, they know what courses you're supposed to do. They can help you with your transition to careers or to transfer institutions. They know the articulation agreements, so as they look at that kind of a partnership between the advising and the faculty mentors, I think it's going to be great for students. You're going to have better services, hopefully, when we get done. So I think the students are going to have a really good overall experience, but they don't know that it's any different because they haven't been here before, so unless they've gone to college somewhere else. So.
Well, thank you both for your time. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us in.